The APE, Twitter sphere, Discord sphere, Reddit sphere, YouTube sphere, drama sphere been going absolutely nuts this weekend. As is typical with weekends, we typically see lots of conflict and controversy take place. And I actually have a little bit I'd like to mention about this one, and it's regarding APE. Now, APE has been a topic of discussion for ever since the launch, which is really on August 4th is when this was announced, during the quarterly earnings call that Adam Aaron and Co. Had released for their retail investors and for apes alike. And it is sort of spurred quite the controversy, and I'd like to discuss this today from as objective as a viewpoint as I can. I'd like to preface by saying that I actually am not a fan of dilution. I'm going to be purely looking at this as is stated by Adam Aaron. We're going to go from there. So right off the bat, right, on the August 4th, 2022 earnings call, Adam Aaron came on and announced APE. APE stands for AMC Preferred Equity Units. And what this essentially is, in the most simple way possible, is a form of a stock split. If you were to click on this, it's technically labeled as a dividend, but there will be 516 million new APE holdings that will be traded on the New York Stock Exchange as a security under the symbol ticker APE. And a lot of people have sort of gone back and forth with questions, concerns, and queries towards Adam Aaron, towards the community, towards a whole bunch of different people regarding what this is actually going to look like. Is this going to help us as is promised? Is Adam Aaron actually going to increase stock price and give a higher overall likelihood of what many people are sort of looking for, which is a squeeze? Or is this going to dilute us into the shadow realm? Are we going to suffer? Are we screwed out of our investment? This seems to be the sort of topic of discussion. And the person leading the former, not the latter, which is the latter, I should say, the latter, not the former, opinion, which is that this is going to be detrimental to investors, is Lou. Lou versus Wall Street put out a video on August 13th, and it was titled #Delay Ape Until Q4. And I'm not going to make you watch a 14-minute video, but the premise of this idea is that Lou believes that AMC is going to dilute Ape into what I mentioned before, the shadow realm. They're just going to absolutely screw all their investors over and make them so mad that they want to leave the stock. The sort of concern, I can at least understand this aspect of it, where Lou has some questions, is there are a crap ton of APE that will not be immediately issued that could be later sold and diluted into the float of the stock. And essentially what this is going to act as is a half price dilution. What that means is if you're splitting value from AMC into APE, which is a separate entire ticker, APE, what you're doing is diluting at half price. You're able to raise capital without diluting the entirety of your float, basically under two entire tickers, right? And his concern is, hey, they're sitting on billions actually of APE shares that could be diluted into the market. I'm not really sure how this is going to go. I'm a little sweaty about this. Go fuck your mom. The whole 9 yards. You understand the point. I want to show you guys this now, because he issued this to me, and many people are saying, Trey, he mentioned your name during this video. I want you to check it out. So I'm just going to look at this objectively. Let's see what he has to say.
You make your decision. And by the way, let's just turn this around. I put on the call, Trey, take a look at what I'm saying and take a good look at the possibility of those APE shares being converted, because they're being used, they can be used as collateral because they're going to become AMC shares. You make a decision, you make a call for you and your people and everything, but understand something. Put it out there. What would it hurt AMC and us if APE was delayed to Q4 in order for us to have our run?
That's the big question. What would it hurt for AMC to delay APE until Q4 of 2022. Now, this is actually an interesting perspective, right? And let me preface by saying that there's absolutely no world where that's going to happen. All right, there's just none. It doesn't matter what you think, what I think, what Lou thinks, what Lou's mom thinks, what your mom's, grandma's, stepmom's, Lou's mom. It doesn't fucking matter, right? APE is coming out whether we like it or not, whether you like it or not. But he does bring up an interesting point. What would happen if we waited to announce APE or to deliver APE or to actually issue the dividend until Q4, right? Well, actually, I was curious about this. I saw this segment. I thought, okay, let's just sort of look historically at everything going on. And it lined up extremely well was something that Adam Aaron had issued in a tweet as of just late. Blindly feared dilution. This came out on the 13th, which was yesterday. You missed crucial facts. In January 2021, AMC issued shares. AMC share price soared. May, June, 21 more shares. Again, our stock soared. Stopped selling shares July 21. AMC started a long fall. APE announced last week. AMC up again. apes make AMC stronger. And if you look at the overall stock price, I'm going to just bring this up for you here really quick, and we're going to go over what all this is in just a second. August 4th was the day that APE was announced. Now, this wasn't directly the cause of, I think, the rise, but I think the narrative that does make the most sense here is on August 4th, it's announced, initial push down, because typically if you think of a stock split, right, you're going to get a varying amount of opinions, and it was complex, and complex things, if the market doesn't understand it, they typically just price it in as fear, right? Sold off, next day, it rose. There's no debating that, right? August 4th up to the peak on the 8th, and then again on the 12th, you saw a massive, massive movement out of the stock. So I was curious. I thought to myself, all right, he's not fluffing about the fact that APE pushed AMC stock price up. This much can't be debated, right? I think if you're looking at it from a market-wide perspective, they view it as an opportunity for AMC to fundamentally improve their balance sheets. And if I was a short, what I would probably be thinking is this gives them the opportunity to pay off a large amount of debt without sort of continuing to be cash flow negative. Cash flow negative essentially meaning that, hey, as a company, we are burning more cash per quarter than we are making. We are actually not profitable right now. That's important, little sort of piece of this right here. So I wanted to sort of dig deeper, and I'm going to show you this really quick. So what I did is I looked up, I was curious on all of the dates that AMC has ever diluted stock and what it has actually done to the share price. Because as you just read, right, Adam Aaron stated that dilution, every time they've diluted, stock price seemed to have rose, right? And if you think about this, it might seem like a sort of a counterintuitive thought process. And I'm going to stay very grounded in this. I'm not a fan of dilution over the short term. I'm really not. I fucking, nobody likes diluting. Nobody cares for momentum getting slapped down in a situation, right? But over the long term, a 3 to 5 year period of time, this is what's good for the stock. It's a completely different narrative. The CEO's job in this situation is to make them cash flow positive and to try to fundamentally get shorts out of this stock, right? But here we have it, right? Let's just look at the overall dates in which we have dilution throughout the company. You can see October 31st, 2018 to what appears to be all the way up to maybe October 30th. You really didn't get much dilution. 2020, 2 years later, you increased the amount of shares that were sort of traversing around by about 18 million in total, right? Now, if we were to actually come in and check out some more of these dates, which we're going to do right now, what you're going to find is they started to heavily increase dilution on like the 1st of December, the 8th, the 28th of December 2020. You see another big jump up on the 22nd of January, another one up on the 29th of January, another big one on March 3rd, and then the last decent sized one was on June 1st of 2021 when we saw basically the peak of stock price on AMC. So what I've done is I went over here to my bar chart and I just sort of labeled off all the times that they diluted stock in sort of a number, right? All of these blue lines represent times that AMC stock has been diluted. You can see there was 216 million shares here on the 28th of December 2020, 339 million shares here on the 22nd of January 2021. Here you've got the 29th of January 2021. Here you have the 3rd of March 2021. And here you have 01 June 2021, right? Now, all of these charts, what I wanted to take it a step further. I wanted to combine them. I wanted to take all five, right? All of these 5 periods of time and sort of be able to mark out which of these have been beneficial and which of these have been harmful. And I put them in numerical order. I know which one's which. I know which one was diluted and which one was not, which time period was diluted, which one was not. But I want you to pause the video and take a guess and a gander at which one of these 5 bar patterns we actually saw dilution on, right? I'll give you 2 seconds. We saw dilution on 1, on 2, on 4, and on 5. Now, 2 is the pattern in which you actually don't see a higher high being set with that dilution being imminent. But 1, 4, and 5, all of which you saw dilution, stock price actually did go up. This is counterintuitive, and I still stand by my opinion. I don't like dilution in the short term because it does kill momentum. You will see an immediate push down most of the time, and in a situation where you are making a decent rip, it crushes. I mean, there's no debating that. In June of 2021, you did watch momentum get killed in that moment. However, it is good for the company, and that is what AMC and Adam Aaron are specifically concerned with. So number 3 here is the last time that they actually diluted the stock. This is a very mini shrunk down version of June 2021 to present. And what you're going to find is that it's just been in a net downward trend. Now, I would attribute more of this to sort of the bearish trend that we've seen, especially in the last 8-9 months of the market. I'd attribute a lot of this to the bear market. I think that's fair to state. But there is also an argument to state that when there is dilution, at least in a 1 to 3 month period of time, you typically do watch a pop down, a pop up, and then a fade, right? There's merit to this. There really is. Now, you can't overly dilute a stock. And I want to make this perfectly clear. If Adam Aaron and AMC came out and they decided, fuck it, we're going to dump 4.5 billion shares of APE into the float, I think you're going to watch that thing drop, and it's going to be really, really, really hard to get that back up. And at that point, you have every right to be angry, as I would be, right? I'd be fucking furious. But doesn't that make any sense? That makes none. There's not really a world where there's a pro to doing that. And I think that Adam Aaron and AMC recognize that. So what I want to do is pitch a couple things. I've talked about it before. I'll say it again. The pros and cons of APE. And I'm going to leave you with the moral of the story. And then you make your own decisions, because I'm not doing that for you. So let's just start off with the cons, the negatives to diluting stock. Dilution. The act of dilution is the state of being diluted. In the most simple way possible, dilution can be a negative. It will raise the overall market cap of a company, the valuation. Dollar for dollar, you will see that the company is worth more money. However, with more shares, that typically means that you're changing the overall divided by, right? You can have a higher overall market cap with a lower overall price if there are too many shares in a market. This is people's concerns, and it would be mine as well. I got to be quite frank with you. I don't want to see AMC with a float of 1 billion, 2 billion, 3 billion shares. I think that's just too high. That makes the stock far too liquid. I think you're going to have a really hard time having an actual short squeeze. You'd be more likely to see a gamma squeeze. I can see that for sure, for certain, right? But over dilution can be a negative thing. But even more so, and I think people will sort of miss the point here. What I would view as a con more than dilution in this situation is intrinsic value, right? Intrinsic value is a measure of what an asset is worth that is arrived at by means of an objective calculation or complex financial model, rather than using the currently trading market price of that asset. The only concern that I have with the APE that really stands out to me, because I got to be honest with you, I trust Adam Aaron to not just dilute out of nowhere. I think that he has a brain in between his ears. I think that he recognizes if he fucks up, that people likely won't want to hold his stock, right? He's going to do what's right in that regard. I think he's going to warn you. You're going to have plenty of time to make a financial decision. And I think that's what's really important here. But intrinsic value, essentially what you have with APE is a lack of intrinsic value. What you've done is split the value of AMC into a completely separate, different ticker. And to be quite frank with you, don't call me Frank's Trades, I swear. This is why I don't like a lot of cryptocurrencies. I think a lot of cryptocurrencies lack intrinsic value. And I think that APE is going to struggle in that regard. But there are positives to APE, and I think this is something that we need to look at as well, right? At the end of this all, you guys will see what I'm talking about. The positives. AMC in their previous quarter announced that they are burning a quarterly amount of cash in the realm of $385 million. Now, that's a lot of Baconators that buy you a lot of chicken nuggets that would maybe buy me a razor for all those people out there that think I need to shave my beard. But nonetheless, you get the point. $385 million is a lot of money. And if you're cash flow negative, if you're burning cash, it means that you are operating not in a good situation, right? You do want to see AMC become cash flow positive. So how do they do that? They have to either A, make more money, or B, lower their expenses. I think they're attempting to do both of these things presently, right? They know they're burning $385 million per quarter right now, and their debt is at $5.358 billion. That means $5.358 billion in total. This is a lot of debt. There's certainly no joking about that. We recognize that about the company. They need to pay off debt, and preferably at a discount, which is something that Adam has recently done. Obviously a positive. That's a good thing. We do like to see that. But what APE is doing, and what I think his real big plan is in a 2, 3 to 5 year period of time, he wants to set up AMC to be in a position where it has significantly less debt and it is cash flow positive, because the goal of every business is to be cash flow positive. It is to make money. It is to be able to pay your employees. It's to be able to profit. That's what businesses do. They make money. And if you're not making money, you have to improve, right? And that is what AMC is trying to do. Now, if you take away APE, really the prospectus that they have available to them right now is they need to do a domestic box office of $5.2 billion. And they're hoping that they can do this by Q4 of 2022. But there's certainly no guarantees about that. Movies have been great, and I think there's some more great movies coming out. But if that doesn't prove to be correct, they're not cash flow positive. What can they do about that, right? They have to take matters into their own hands. Now, let me tell you this. Adam Aaron, the CEO of the company, his job, he does have a judiciary duty to his shareholders. He is there to make sure that you guys are not being taken advantage of. I am 1,000,000% in agreement with that. He should be taking care of us, 1,000,000%. He also has a duty to make his company profitable. He has a duty to increase fundamental and intrinsic value for the company. And this is where I stand on the entirety of the APE situation. I know this was very long, but I wanted to go through everything that I can possibly think of. I think that APE is very simple. You are going to get diluted. We are going to get diluted. APE is going to get diluted. There is absolutely no debating this. There's none. Zero, zilch, none. It's going to get diluted. It has, I believe, a lack of intrinsic value. This is more of an opinion, right? My opinion is that it lacks intrinsic value. If you disagree with me, that's okay. But these are the cons, to me, of APE. The pros, if you can think long term, is in 2 to 3 to maybe 5 years, it gives AMC the opportunity to do their job, which is to increase the fundamental value of the company and to intrinsically scare shorts out of positions. Right? Maybe the floor, if AMC's cash flow positive, is $20, $25, $30. Maybe it's $35. Maybe it's $40. We'll have to find out, right? The market's going to determine what that value is for the stock, but they have to do their part. And for them, that's their part. How do we get these guys out of the company? By fundamentally improving the company. In a perfect world, they dilute APE. They make money. They're able to pay off some debt, hopefully at a discount, go cash flow positive. And then maybe someday buy back that APE float or some AMC stock, right? In a perfect world. It's possible. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see how everything rolls, but that's his plan. And at the end of the day, don't let Lou tell you, don't let me tell you, don't let freaking anybody tell you what to do with APE, because I've seen all sorts of different opinions here, and here's the truth of the matter. AMC has Adam Aaron appointed as a CEO. He runs the company. He does. We own the company. I am in absolute agreement with you there, but he runs the company, right? You have the freedom to do what you want with your money, and he has the freedom to do what he wants with the company. Of course, he comes by us and he asks, he says, hey, listen, this is what I'm thinking right now. Do you guys approve? Do you not approve? And he's done that, and I love that. That's important. It really is. But he runs the company. He makes the decisions. We can give him ideas, right? We certainly can, but he runs it. He makes the choices. He does. There's absolutely no debating that. So if you don't like his choices, you can choose to get out. If you do, you can choose to stay in. What you have the freedom of is what you do with your money. That's it at the end of the day. If you want to hold APE, hold it. If you want to sell it, sell it. That's what I think is the most important thing here, is what you do with your money. Not what I do, not what he does, not what Adam Aaron does, blah, 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 blah. We go through the whole freaking list here, right? What's important is that you come to your own conclusion and you're not letting somebody tell you what to do with your money. It's yours. It's yours. APE's not going to get delayed. Make choices on your own. That's what I've got for this video. Hopefully you guys pulled some value from that. I appreciate you as always. Until the next one, much love, light taps, and peace.